facsimile?
It's a Kobe clone. It's a Kobe clone.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the season finale, possible series finale of Unlimited Pancakes.
Boo.
I'm your host, Fernando Ramirez, a.k.a. MasterChef.
Disgusting.
And with me today is the... What? Shut up. And with me today are the regulars, Elliot Nwosu, a.k.a. What are you, EpicPleasure or Childish Platypus?
I'll be EpicPleasure, a.k.a. Childish Platypus.
How about being Childish Pleasure?
That's disgusting.
Fine, Epic Platypus.
Nah.
I like Epic Platypus.
We have Jonathan Leung, a.k.a. Balls to the Wall.
What's up, Doc?
That's terrible. And it's going to be your
Like
final
Kobe's-
sign-off.
Too late.
And finally, we have Derek, a.k.a. Dr.DeWreck.
What's up?
All right. And
So boring.
Better than Childish Platypus? Or
Look at
Childish Pleasure?
Go hard.
so the last time we left off was a while ago. It's been the last a couple weeks since we last met.
We take
Almost 2 months.
Okay, we don't have to be specific on when we last left, but...
I went to Golden State?
Huh?
Nothing.
Shut up. All right, so last
Yeah.
time we left off, the semifinals had just ended and the conference finals were just beginning. So what we're going to do, obviously, the season has just ended, everything has ended, and we're at the point of free agency. But we're going to take a look back and just review what's happened from the conference finals up to now. So let's start off with the Western Conference Finals, the Spurs and the Grizzlies. I'm just going to start off by saying this. If people don't remember already with short attention spans these days, but the Spurs swept a very disappointing Grizzlies team that they were able to hold their own, but they were never really able to counter against Tony Parker playing at an MVP level. Zachary Randolph performed horribly the first 2 games, did okay 3 and 4, but was just never really able to be that impact that they needed to push the series just to get a win. So what are your thoughts overall that the Spurs were able to, dip into the fountain of youth again? Tim Duncan, those 3, the core, were able to push themselves to a 5th final appearance in what has been, I think, 14 years. What's your first reaction? I'll start with you, John.
Well, just give them your respect. Give Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker. I mean, they really took Grizzlies out of their comfort zone. I mean, throughout the whole series, the Grizzlies were post and grinding out team, and then the Spurs just made sure the Grizzlies they didn't play their game. It took them out of their element that they were comfortable with, and just it's gonna be interesting to see. It's gonna be interesting to see how the Grizzlies recover, or how they solve their issues, because they were throughout the whole series they were dared to shoot. They dared the Grizzlies perimeter players to make plays and make shots, and they just couldn't. So, and they re-signed Tony Allen. So I'm not sure how they're gonna improve on that roster, but the Spurs totally exposed the Grizzlies the whole series.
Derek?
Grizzlies backcourt not being able to step up when they needed to be, since they totally shut down Zach Randolph for Game 1 and Game 2.
That was supposedly their strength.
Right.
You thought they were going to win in the front court. A Gasol, Zebo tandem versus Splitter Duncan.
Exactly.
And Duncan did really, really good. That dude willed himself definitely so that they could push to the finals. But continue.
Yeah, and then Spurs somehow locked Zebo out of the whole game for the first 2 games, and the backcourt just couldn't step it up. I don't want to say Tony Allen's a liability on offense, but
He is a liability on offense.
but
He was doing okay, but I think the biggest difference, recalling that series, was Conley did okay, but Parker just did so much better.
Parker
The way he was able to
elevated his
slice
game.
and dice into the paint.
How was Danny Green? I don't remember. Was he lighting it up?
Yeah,
Danny-
no. Kawhi Leonard, Neal, and Green, they were able to. They didn't do anything outlandishly amazing, but they contributed, their standard points, and they were able to contribute what they needed to do. So they weren't underperforming; they were doing exactly what they were supposed to do.
Grizzlies backcourt just couldn't do it, and I still don't see what they're gonna do next year to fix it.
What do you think, Elliot?
I think it's the Spurs. I think the way Greg Popovich just game planned against the Grizzlies was I wasn't expecting a sweep. It's that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
At least put up more of a fight. You're saying you.
Well, they clawed back, but the thing was
but you still got swept.
No, I know what I'm saying, but
how much clawing?
No, but within the games, the thing was that the Spurs would build these gigantic margins, and the Grizzlies would close it in around the 5-minute marker.
But they wasted so much energy coming back.
Yeah, and when it came to the micro, play for play, the Spurs were just able to outclass any Grizzlies plays.
And Tim Duncan, like you said, stepped it up. I guess he really wanted a ring.
I think I had praised the Grizzlies all year, and I honestly thought they were going to be the ones to
especially when they got rid of Rudy Gay.
But without Rudy Gay, with Rudy Gay, I honestly felt they wouldn't have gone that far.
Really?
I don't think so. Okay, well, moving on to the other half of it, the Eastern Conference Finals, which tend to be a little bit more interesting.
I love this finals. Oh my god.
No, conference finals. We're still the conference finals. The Indiana Pacers versus the Miami Heat. The Heat were able to pull it off in 7 games. It was constant, 1-2, 1-2. No one truly had a real edge until the very last game when the Heat were able to really step up their defense. They were able to get into the free throw line more. I guess they were driving in more and they were able to put more pressure in the paint and stuff like that. But overall, one of the highlight moments obviously was the Game 1 layup that LeBron did.
That was sick.
Looking at the overall series, how do you feel? What was your reaction to it? The fact that the Heat were able to go to their 3rd consecutive finals since they've created that, the Big Three, and that the Pacers were basically a couple minutes short of, going to their first finals since, I believe, 2000, when Reggie Miller was still, in the peak years of his career. John, we'll start with you again.
I think in the series, this kind of exposed the Miami Heat because it showed you how their offense is predicated on LeBron James, him creating, him on the post up, him creating off the dribble. I was surprised. I really expected Chris Bosh to step up, especially expecting that LeBron would be doubled, but he was basically invisible. He was non-existent the whole series. Dwayne Wade had an ailing knee injury. He should have had a chance. He should have had it. There should have been a Bosh's opportunity to step up, but he didn't. But I also give credit to the Pacers. They made things difficult.
David West deserves a lot. And Hibbert. Hibbert stepped it up also during that series. David West and Hibbert were basically one of the key reasons why Bosh could not do anything. And it's a little bit further, but the fact that they re-signed David West, that's huge. And that's a very good thing by the Pacers.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. Hibbert, the emergence of Hibbert and West. And if this team's going to get better, it's going to be internally coming from Lance Stevenson, Paul George, and Danny Granger returning. I really don't see them really needing any offseason additions. If their core guys get better, then I can see them continuing challenging the Miami Heat for the Eastern Conference Finals.
I disagree a little with that. They don't need to make much improvements. However, they already made a couple, but we'll get into that later. Derek, what do you think?
Like John said, it showed a major flaw in the Miami Heat team where size really does matter, and the big men in the Pacers just really outshined Chris Bosh and Haslam and whoever else.
But then Wade went roid.
Yeah.
And what we mean by that is me and Derek watched a lot of the games, and we were just he would always disappear every other game, and then all of a sudden, just when you need him, oh my God, he just lights it up out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, roids. That's how he's getting that elevation.
I wouldn't be surprised if one day there was a headline.
No, I would be so sad. I don't even want it. That's a joke. That would
That's
be so
a joke,
terrible.
but
That would the ripple effect of that headline would be astronomical.
But it's just the big men of the Pacers really, really dominated, and even though Hibbert had a subpar regular season, he really stepped up in the playoffs and showed off that he's worth max contract for what he can do. And it was fun seeing Paul George and LeBron James go head to head. The most improved player going against the MVP, and they actually showed mutual respect for each other for what they can do on the court. It was just amazing to watch.
Elliot?
Yeah. One thing you can say about the Heat is they know how to close. When it comes down to that final Game 7, they would not lose that game. It's been like that I guess.
Well, yeah. I think since this core 3 was made, they've been in a couple of elimination games dating back to the Celtics Eastern Conference Final last year when they were down 3-2, and then LeBron came out of nowhere. They've been impressively good in elimination games.
They just know how to close. They have the drive for it. For the Heat, a season where with the Big Three, a season where they don't make the conference. Well, it seems like now a season where you don't win the finals is a failure. All your fans are expecting it because you have so much talent. If you don't, making the finals is not even a question. Everybody expects you to be there.
Yeah.
So and then you just have to win it.
I think it's are the league is really strong now when talent, like, when we're looking at this free agents and stuff like that, a lot of teams are very strong legitimately, and maybe other eras they would be the favorable contender. But the thing is that there's so much talent into one team and different teams like that. You have super stacked teams, mid-tier teams, the low-tier teams and stuff like that. So your expectations are insanely ridiculous, because when you look at the teams, it's like you have to get there. And it's a sad thing, but it's like, yeah, unfortunately, that's how sports is. Unless you make it to the top, everything is considered a failure.
Yep.
So,
but yeah, like the series was really it was a fun series. Like the game one closing, it was kind of the play itself was kind of weird, because I felt like he should have blocked them off, but he just gave him a straight path to the.
Well, supposedly that's where that controversial defensive scheme where Hibbert should have been in the middle and stuff like that.
Like
it's just there should have been help.
Yeah, there was no help.
Like 3 seconds at most on the clock.
Yeah.
You can't pass it out. You just help.
I don't think that's a win-win situation for any coach. I mean, if they had put Hibbert in and then Chris Bosh hit a jumper, it would have been, why did you leave Hibbert in?
At least make Bosh hit the jumper. Don't
I think
give
the thing
LeBron
is
the
you
layup.
want to prefer the jumper over the layup, since the layups are more high percentage.
In those situations, I don't think it's a win-win situation. I mean, you give up. I support Coach Vogel and his decision to put a faster, quicker player on Bosh. I wouldn't expect. The thing is, Paul George's fault, because he overcommitted and it opened up. And I don't see anything wrong with that. How Vogel put that defensive scheme in there.
Yeah,
I have a problem with what you're saying. That is also Paul George fucked up, but I don't blame the no Hibbert effect. Is the fact that the rest of the players did not help Paul George when they see LeBron have.
Well, LeBron would really quick.
I know, but David West was eyeing
and
him.
LeBron traveled.
Oh, you saw that video too. Well, that play is ancient now, but I think overall one of the things that from this series, the Heat were obviously able to go, but I think two things that we can take from that series before we get to the finals is the Pacers are definitely going to be back. They're definitely a contender. They've proven that they can beat the Heat if they do just a couple more things correctly. And I think, in my opinion, the Heat are extremely vulnerable that maybe next year they could lose it, because these flashes of weight and stuff like that happen at the right moment. How much longer can this sustain, where you're just getting these flashes at the right moment at the right time? That's very dangerous. You're basically kind of hoping that at the right time it'll happen. And I know that happens that has to happen. A little luck is involved in winning the championship, but I think next year you're demanding a lot, especially if you're going to keep that old roster while everybody else is trying to improve to beat you. But that's something to be said. You want to say
I was saying, what's it called? I don't think this proves that they can beat the Heat. It just proves that how inconsistent Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh is. Yeah. Because like you were saying, when they were on, they were on. Like it's just like you just can't appear one whole game and the next game you're pretty much shit. It's like,
well, it worked for this series.
Yeah,
but you question if that's gonna push
in the long run. They would lose. Like they will definitely lose. But it's like there's been word saying how this team is like or this Heat, or they appear to be the Cavs from back in the LeBron, where everything's like, oh, LeBron's on this team, I put my hands up for LeBron. So like he's gonna carry us, he's gonna do all the work, and then they lose and like, oh crap. Wade's like, oh man, I gotta step up, I gotta get back into my old 2006 form when it was just me, and they win again, and then Wade's like, okay, I can relax again.
Well, that's also another media thing though, and we'll get to that finals, because the one player honestly saved LeBron's legacy from being completely tarnished, and we're gonna get to that right now. NBA Finals. That was one of the most exciting finals that I've seen in a few years. It was, there was a couple of blowouts. You had a Game 3 of historic three-point shooting. You had the ridiculous Game 6 game. And then you had an amazing but very, I felt, oh my God, I felt really bad for Tim Duncan. You had a very career-defining Game 7. And I'll start with you, Derek. That whole finals, watching LeBron James win the second one, watching what I would say, one of the most consistent teams in the history of basketball in terms of being able to be consistently good and compete for finals in the Spurs. What do you take from all of it? Just watching those games, watching the drama, and now seeing, how the two one basically, is they didn't get to win it, but they're still seen and lauded as one of the most class act organizations, most consistent organizations, and they're still gonna, be in the run next year. I mean, how do you take it all in? What's your reaction?
That was just good basketball. I can't front. It was not like those high market names like Lakers versus Heat or OKC versus Heat, but it was just good basketball. And like you said, Spurs are always consistent. Like, they always do well every season and every playoffs. And this was, I don't know, almost...
I think this should have been their year.
This should have been their year. This was their best chance at playing the Heat and actually beating them with the Ailing Wade and with Tony Parker having an almost MVP-like season before his ankle injury. Tim Duncan playing like he's 10 years younger than he actually is. Like, everything was...
Yeah. You had Manu
set.
for that one game that you needed him to, go back to the old Manu, scored, I think, 31 points or something like that. I mean,
the double-double, like I think almost a double-double maybe.
Yeah.
But it's just... And Danny Green...
Oh, 24 points, sorry, 24 points.
And Danny Green stepping up as one of probably the best three-point shooter in the league right now, percentage-wise. But...
Except for that Game 7.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, lockdown defense does that to you, so...
Yeah. But, John?
Well, like, bravo to both teams. I will say that. The Spurs certainly had their chance to take the championship. With Kawhi Leonard had just made one more free throw. But it was basically a chess match throughout the whole series because neither team, to the Game 6 and 7, neither team had won two straight in a row. It was always one team. It was very interesting, very rewarding to see how two coaches kind of like played each other, kind of used different strategies to take them out. Danny Green had that great first 3 games where he hit the series, and then throughout the whole series, the rest
just
of
disappeared.
He totally took them out. They didn't allow him to score. The same thing for the Spurs. They dared LeBron. Hey, LeBron, we're gonna force you to shoot jumpers. And then as the series went on, you can see LeBron willingness to take the jumpers. And the last shot to the dagger in that Game 7 was actually LeBron James taking the jumper, which I thought was humongous. I think to me that solidified his position as the best player in the NBA. It reminded me a lot of when Jordan hit that J over Byron Russell to...
It's enormous because he made that right after Duncan missed his most important hook shot of his life.
Yes.
It was
to tie the game.
When I saw that, we were watching that game, and when I saw that, I just turned to Derek and I was like, it's over. It's over, and he knew it too. Like, you never see emotion from him, but when he slapped his hand in the floor and you just saw him finally release it, you were like, oh, it hurt. It hurt me a little.
He knows that that was it.
I think everybody knew
feel
it.
his pain.
Yeah.
But I laughed.
You're such a...
but that was his best chance of getting that other championship. I thought it was their year. Usually the odd champions, because they always win in the odd years.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But like you said, they had their chances to beat the Heat, but just they couldn't capitalize on them. Bravo to LeBron James, the Miami Heat, for squeaking that one out.
Yeah. Elliot?
As much as I don't like the Spurs because they're rival to the Houston Rockets, I have to commend them. That was amazing play. It's nice to see. One thing I have to say, it wasn't a boring finals. It wasn't a 4-0 sweep that we had back then when LeBron was with the Cavs by the Saints.
Oh yeah,
and then it wasn't like the Mavericks against the Heat the first year they went into the thing. It was an entertaining finals where you're like, what the hell is going on? It's like, oh my god, shots to the 3-point and stuff, and then the Ray Allen freaking game 6.
That shot, I swear, LeBron, I hope he kissed Ray Allen hard in the head, because honestly,
sure
if that shot wouldn't have gone in, I was already seeing it. ESPN would have been like, "Oh, the Spurs won it again." Yeah, the Spurs won the NBA Finals. God, LeBron lost it.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been the Spurs won. It would have been LeBron and the Heat
lost.
Yeah.
For starters, one thing that John said, I think is a credit to Eric Spoelstra. One of the things I feel when it comes to super teams like this, we've seen super teams being formed over the years. And one of the things, unfortunately, that gets overshadowed is you still have to coach the super team, because just because in theory they're the best players does not mean that they're going to coexist together and do things. And honestly, in that series, I feel that Spoelstra did enough moves going up against Popovich, who is a statistical master, one of the best right now in the league, and he won. And that's a credit to something. In the span of 3 years, you can credit how much of it is actually his coaching to their talent, but the fact that he's able to maintain those egos to basically go for one goal, that's important. That's part of being a coach, and that was a credit to them. But this was one of those series that at one point, I think when you watch it, it's no longer about the team this. It's about, it's going to be disappointing that somebody had to lose. And it had to be the Spurs this time. But I just want to talk real quick about the Spurs, Tim Duncan's legacy, this entire team's legacy in NBA history. One of the things that I noticed with this Spurs team is, to me, the term that defines them will always be consistency, because they were never truly, in certain eras, the always dominant one. In the early 2000s, when they were winning their finals, they were overshadowed by the Lakers
100%.
and those powerful teams. Then in the later on, it was the Celtics. So every time there was always a new team, or like the Oklahoma City Thunder, they were never truly that powerhouse, but you always credited them of being like underneath them.
Yeah, they always lingered.
Yeah, so they were never like the team that you had to go through to get through the finals, but at the same time you were always cautious about them. So I just want to hear from you guys real quick. It's still going on. It's not over. They have another chance next year. They've gotten Marco Bellinelli. They re-signed Thiago Splitter, so they're still good. Hopefully they get another fountain of youth here from Duncan and Ginobili, and they still have a good chance. How do you see 5 finals appearances in Tim Duncan era, 4 championships, 13 years of 50, I think, consistent, victories, going to finals, just always giving their fans a chance. And that's all you could ever ask, a chance to get to the finals. Derek, what is your reaction overall to their legacy and Tim Duncan and all that?
Like, I'm very proud and I'm very happy to be watching an era of, so to say, for the Spurs, the consistent era. But the West is getting scary in the free agency, and
the West is always stacked.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm saying. It also again proves the point. We're going into this free agency, and now it's like, the Spurs are in the bottom again, because now all these other teams are rising, but but they're still consistent. They're still there. You always have to fear them.
This season will test them fully, because we're getting some crazy moves. Not crazy moves, but some important moves, and like
Big
you say,
names are moving.
Yeah, it's just everything is crazy. And right now you picture them at the bottom tier, while with like Dwight Howard to Houston, and it's just
it's automatically. I've been watching these lists. All these teams have all of a sudden been skyrocketed over the Spurs, and that's like, you're already disrespecting them again. Have you not learned from years of doing that?
Well, I'm pretty sure the Spurs like it that way.
No, I don't credit that they don't. I mean, that's how they work. They work in the shadows. But I'm just saying, by now it's like, give them a little credit. Jesus, what else do they have to do, John?
Well, I don't think this affects their legacy at all. Tim Duncan was always going to be a surefire Hall of Famer. So is Ginobili, Tony Parker. I mean, the Spurs are the model franchise of the NBA. They know how to draft players. They know how to draft international players, more importantly. I mean, all their players, Thiago Splitter, Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Gary Neal, who was actually, even though he's from America, he was a foreign player, played over in Europe before this. They know how to draft great players that know how to come into their system and contribute to them. I see them going back to the Western Conference Finals, even with all the new additions.
Yep.
It's just because all the players, they know their roles, they know how to win, and especially with the emergence of Kawhi Leonard, he's on the brink of being an all-star.
Oh yeah, that's another thing we forgot to mention. Kawhi Leonard's play was extremely impressive in those finals. That he's on the cusp of superstardom.
Not even the finals, also against the Memphis Grizzlies, because his length bothered them a lot, because his ability to cover so much ground.
Dude can rebound, man. My God, it reminds me of you. You can rebound.
Kawhi Leonard. I mean, the Spurs have always been a model franchise. I hate them even more since they drafted Kawhi Leonard. We had opportunity. We drafted Marcus Morris.
Didn't they trade for Kawhi Leonard? Because they sent George Hill.
Yeah, but we drafted Marcus Morris 14th and Kawhi Leonard went 15th. And I don't know why we didn't draft him. I knew immediately it was going to be a mistake. But no, the Spurs, give them credit. They know talent and they know how to develop talent. And that's a really good combination to always have a model franchise.
Yeah. Elliot?
I don't think this takes away from the legacy. If anything, it adds to it. It just shows consistency. They're not like Dwayne Wade, who's pop in, pop out. They're always strong. How many years consecutively have the Spurs made the playoffs? Like I can't remember the last time they weren't in the playoffs.
Ever since they drafted Tim
so
Duncan.
He's never missed a play, or maybe 1 year.
No,
he's never missed it.
Even his rookie year, they made it.
Rookie
Wow.
year,
So that's. I mean, come on, look at that. That's ridiculous. Like, Tim Duncan is a surefire Hall of Famer. I'm not so sure about Tony Parker, and like I don't think like
Maybe
The guy has a
Ginobili.
Finals MVP.
Dude, Tony Parker is a Hall of Famer, dude.
I know Tim Duncan.
Maybe
for
not
sure.
Ginobili,
but then
No, Ginobili is too, because you remember, you also have to keep in mind his international influence was huge. He led an Argentina team to defeat a very strong United States team in the FIBA International World Cup and stuff like that. Huge part of the reason why they won 2005 against the Pistons. It's just he was one of those players that at his peak he was strong, but he hasn't aged well. That's the problem. But you have to keep that in mind. Just because he hasn't aged gracefully does not take away from everything he did previously.
I have a theory for Ginobili. That bald spot, the bigger it gets, the worse his skills deteriorate.
What is it, like a tree, like a leaf falls? It's like,
What about LeBron's hairline? The more he
LeBron's
loses,
hairline,
the better
the
he
more
gets.
he loses, the
better
greater
he
his
gets?
skills. No, the more he loses, the better his jump shot.
Can't even lose any more hair. Good lord.
oh god, that was another
yeah,
thing.
the headband.
The second that headband came up, I was like, oh god, here it goes. Twitterverse is gonna explode. I was like, god dang it.
No, ESPN rolled that one.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The headbands come off. The king has returned.
I think I saw at one point it was like a legitimate topic question. Should he have the headband
Yeah,
off during
I saw
games?
that
I was
too.
like, oh god, really? Oh my god. But flip side, Miami Heat. So 3 consecutive finals, two
in a
NBA
row.
titles. Next year, everybody is getting better and better and better. Do you see them legitimately? You know, obviously LeBron James is LeBron James, but I think they're going to
course.
keep Ray Allen. They signed Birdman back. Do you think with that roster, which they're basically going to keep, with a
Same
year
exact-
older, will this team be able to go back? Let's just start with that. Do you legitimately believe that they have a chance to go back, or if you do you think it's definitely much more shorter? So they, like, I'll start with Derek.
It's like Elliot said previously. Like Dwayne Wade can phase in and out. He has to be consistent, at least in the playoffs. Maybe not during the regular season. He could slack a bit, let LeBron carry more of the weight.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, he has to be more consistent. He has to show up every night in some way or fashion. I mean, he always shows up in defense,
Yeah.
but he also needs to contribute offensively because Ray Allen can hit the biggest slump of his life. Didn't Ray Allen miss like free throws in like 2 games of
Well,
one
I
series?
guess that's the thing with this team, and that's why they won. When it mattered, they did it, and that's ultimately how you win. You have to do it when it counts.
But also it was very nerve-wracking to see that.
Ray Allen does not miss free throws.
Yeah, like to see Ray Allen in a slump, Shane Battier in a slump.
Oh, yeah,
like-
because see that was crazy too. Shane Batty, you were very lucky that at the last moment in Game 7, I think he just started knocking him like nothing.
Yeah,
and
like
you're
5 threes almost, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
but
he went off.
I'm just saying, Dwayne Wade has to step up. Chris Bosh has to just keep doing what he's doing in the regular season and in the playoffs. He's always going to be outsized by other top-tier big men, but they just have to hopefully hit the fountain of youth like the Spurs.
So early prediction, NBA Finals, yes or no?
Yes, because it's the Heat.
Okay.
And the East. Don't forget the East.
We'll
The
talk about
Pacers, the
we'll
Nets.
talk about that. We'll talk about that. John,
Nets.
we'll talk about that.
I think that he will still make the NBA Finals. I think the road might be a little harder just because of the health of Wade and the roster being a little older. I think Spoelstra needs to take a page out of Greg Popovich and know how to manage his stars' health, limit their minutes, and make sure they're fresh for the playoffs. I don't see really much of a challenge for them besides the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the Heat are clear favorites in the East to return to the NBA Finals.
Okay. Elliot.
I'm gonna say yes, but if they fix the problems with Wade being so inconsistent, Bosh.
I don't think you can
disappearing.
really fix something like that
Yeah,
because it's
just-
more health. It's not like he's not talented. Remember, he was, I think, compared to Kobe Bryant at one point in terms of being an excellent,
Slasher.
shooter and slasher and stuff like that. That's not the problem. He wants to be consistent. He's one of those players
Well,
that can be.
He has to.
But
be
that's the
consistent.
thing. How much longer can you kind of like teeter totter on his health being good enough in come another full season?
Yeah, but like I was saying, I can't really see anybody stopping them. Like the biggest challenge is going to be the Pacers. Even with the Bulls and Derrick Rose back, I don't think Derrick Rose is going to make that much of a difference to where the Bulls can compete with the Heat in the playoffs. So, like, there's nobody, especially with the with the Celtics. That's why you said the Nets. But anyways, I think they're done.
A very valid point.
Heat in the finals.
Okay. Season's over, and we've been on delay doing our own adventures and stuff like that. But over the course of the past couple of weeks, we've seen a lot of crazy stuff already with the free agency. And I guess I'm just going to run down a couple of the big moves and we'll just go through it. I think the first one is the obvious one. Dwight Howard to Houston. Derek is he's not excited about this. I'm just going to start off by saying this. There are things about Dwight Howard's character that have been questioned in the past couple of, I think it's just been months, since he started deciding to depart from Orlando. And you wonder, you're taking basically a risk in hoping that his talent is strong enough, but you hope that he doesn't affect chemistry. You hope that he doesn't affect internal stuff with the other players, with the coach and stuff. You just want him to play basketball. And that's what we're hoping for. And if he doesn't do that, his stock diminishes. This is his year. He has to prove that he's not a diva. Aside from all that, from a basketball standpoint, this move had to happen. It made us a lot better. I know, Derek, you hate this because we gave away prospects, especially T-Rob. I know you love T-Rob a little bit. But I'll start off with you, John. What is your reaction to Dwight Howard coming to Houston?
Can we first of all, can we please nominate Daryl Morey for President of the United States? I mean, that guy everybody criticized him. They said there's no way you're going to get a star from free agency. You're just stockpiling up assets. There's no way you're going to get the other all-star yet. And look what happens. He was able to assemble a roster that made Dwight Howard leave $30 million on the table. And he was able to get the top center, most talented big men in the league to the Houston Rockets. It could have helped them make them contenders in the Western Conference. I mean, Dwight Howard, I understand he has some immaturity issues, but I think it kind of just been amplified just because he was in the Lakers.
He was in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, he was in Los Angeles. That was a big market. They're going to criticize every move.
That's the market.
Yes. I mean, it's kind of like when you go to the New York Yankees, all these great players, they go to the New York Yankees and they don't produce as well because the media pounds on them and criticizes them for everything, and it gets mentally to you. And I think that's what happened to Dwight, where the Los Angeles media just pounded Dwight's mentality, and then it made him seem like this really bad person or this really immature person. But he comes to the Houston market, and I don't think the pressure is not there for him to succeed immediately. And I think that's going to help us, especially with how James Harden, we have James Harden, Chandler Parsons, Jeremy Lin, they're good character guys. I think all of them fit right in with Dwight Howard's persona, his personality. Other than that, Dwight Howard does so many things for us on the floor. I don't think it's because we have Dwight Howard in the middle and makes us better defensively. I think it's a whole team effort. It's up to Jeremy Lin, James Harden, make sure they're not just ball watching, make sure they're defending their guys correctly. But I think this is probably the best move the Houston Rockets could have made to make them championship contenders on the road to that path to winning the NBA Finals.
I agree. He's the best center in the league, John. I agree.
At his face.
That's the only argument I needed to win.
But for you to say, like, the market in LA is huge. They amplify everything. They exaggerate everything. They have to be on the headline of ESPN every single day. I understand there was eternal conflicts with coaching. Coaching staff changed throughout the whole season. Kobe Bryant and Dwight Howard didn't mesh well together. But if you are a superstar status player that took a Orlando Magic with very little talent to the finals, I expect you to just play the game even if you're not in.
Well, there's other things. For starters, the D'Antoni offensive system does not work for him. Mm-hmm. And throughout the season with the Lakers, a lot of players were injured. You had Nash injured, Gasol injured, Kobe injured. I mean, you were a depleted bench. Antoine Jameson was your sixth man.
Yeah. Kobe was injured.
I don't really mean he had to win or he had to carry. He just had to play the game. He actually felt like he wanted to play. He didn't look like he wanted to play at all in the Lakers. He just felt like he was just dragging his feet.
Yep.
And I understand he had a torn shoulder injury or whatever. And that was also my questionable.
So your concern is that he'll bring that attitude here?
No, it's just if anything can go wrong in Lakerville, and they bring it to Houston, if anything goes wrong, they don't satisfy him, he might drag his feet.
No, and I agree. I mean, there is that sense of fear where talent, outweighs the possibilities. If something goes wrong, if something starts going in the wrong direction, will he start complaining? Will he start, pointing out Mikhail? Because there's already questions about whether or not Mikhail is the coach to take us to the finals. But him and Olajuwon are big men that can definitely help him in his game. And one of the things that I think me and John have talked about is Mikhail's the kind of coach that if he has the right players, he will ask the maximum amount from those players because, the schemes that he has requires talented players. He has those players now, so he can demand those things and they can do them. So, obviously, yeah, and that was my concern too. You're basically saying we're going to risk this talented big man for the fact that hopefully if something goes wrong, he'll be mature about it. And unfortunately, that's something you don't want to discuss, but it is something that you're going to have to look over with caution. But honestly, looking at it, the pros do outweigh the cons. And the definite pro is that this guy just elevated us into a top tier. Maybe not the top, obviously. We still need to fix the bench a little bit and still need to grab pieces here and there. But it definitely puts us in at least the top 4, I believe. Top 5 area, kind of thing. Elliot, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. It was probably the best move we could have made. Dwight Howard is the best center only because all the other centers in the league are really garbage. Like the center position in the NBA, like in this era, is pretty garbage.
Andre Drummond, though.
Like I was saying,
Andre Drummond, it's
like
going to be
compared to
coming.
the power forward position, you have so many.
Yeah.
Like the power forwards are just much better, but he is the best center. Hooray, we got him. I think he makes our team better. There's no way he makes us worse. Like Derek was saying, he does have some attitude problems, but then again, like Kobe was shit talking him in LA and blaming him and stuff. So maybe that's why he got all down and stuff. But with us, you have a big ass Dwight Howard in the center. It gives more offensive options. It's almost like back when we had Yao, except for Yao had more moves and Yao could actually shoot.
Yeah.
So.
This is like the Yao McGrady part 2 with Harden and Dwight Howard. Hopefully they stay healthy though.
Yeah. And then Jeremy Lin has to step up his game. We can't have a year like last year. Like,
well, he did okay.
He did okay.
Yeah, but he has to step up. Obviously.
Yeah, from how he came to be.
Dude, you cannot expect that. That's
something we paid him $25 million.
We paid him to bring the Asian market, and so that we could be whatchamacallit.
What's the saying? He can't play like he did. Like
it's because James Harden needs the ball. Jeremy Lin needs the ball. He is not an off-ball player. These two players don't mesh well in the sense that they both need the ball.
They need to learn how to coexist.
Jeremy Lin and Dwight Howard will be a better combo than
James Harden.
In my opinion, because Jeremy Lin can play off the pick and roll, and Dwight Howard does his little dunking shit. I don't know, whatever.
That being said, I think Jeremy Lin would best be started as a 6th man, as a guy who would give James
off the
Harden
bench?
Off the bench.
Who'll be starting point guard?
Beverly
would be the starting point because he fits in better with Dwight Howard and James Harden, since he's able to actually make the 3. He's a good 3-point shooter. And Jeremy Lin can come in. He'd be the ball handler that can start the pick and roll offense. If we do decide to keep Asik, he can do that with the pick and roll offense because, like you said, Jeremy Lin is a pick and roll player. He needs the ball in his hands to be effective. He's not an outside shooter. He's not a cutter. So that's probably, I think, Mikhail will need to experiment with.
But also, there's a problem with keeping Asik because Asik has proven that he can be a starting center, and he might want to leave.
Yeah, or he might want to start.
We're depleting our center position even more. Who's our backup? Greg Smith?
Man, Greg Smith.
He's a good power forward, but he's undersized.
He's undersized, and they're going to take advantage of it.
Maybe we could bring Greg Oden.
Well, we're not done.
Yeah, we're definitely not done.
We're not done. That's the thing. But I think ultimately the point is this move makes us better. And there are a couple of things, obviously, but that's in the future. We're just going to have to see if his character, if LA truly just was this play. I mean, we don't play basketball. And honestly, we've never been in a situation where the market is on you like that. And the Lakers, everything revolves around that. There's so much history, so much pressure that, it's just sometimes you just can't handle it. There's nothing wrong with that.
I think Houston probably, I don't see how his character can be a problem. Like, for one, he has free canes. For life.
And everybody loves him right now.
Yeah.
And he has to be the face of every franchise he's a part of. Mm-hmm. And he is right now, so we're babying him as much as we can.
So basically recruiting Slim Thug.
I think when he went to the Lakers, he wasn't the face.
Yeah,
that was the first time he wasn't the face of the franchise.
Because it was still Kobe.
Because Kobe, of course, Kobe.
Yeah. All right, well,
Kobe.
Now we're just going to touch on the Western Conference. This move obviously was the domino and it caused a ripple effect. And I'm just gonna go through a couple of the major moves that happened. First off, Thunder are going to be better because Westbrook's going to be back, but they lost Kevin Martin, and Kevin Martin has gone over to the Minnesota Timberwolves. If they sign Nikolai Pekovic, you have Pekovic, Love, Rubio. Oh, they officially did?
They signed Pekovic.
Oh, okay. So now you have Pekovic, you have Rubio, you have Shved, you have Martin. You have a decent team that could possibly go into the playoffs.
And they re-signed Chase Budinger. They also signed Corey Brewer as well.
Mm-hmm. Golden State Warriors, they decided to get better. They picked up Andre Iguodala, which I feel is definitely something that they needed, a good perimeter player. Okay, you disagree. We'll talk about that in a second. The Warriors, they're on the rise. The only thing, obviously, is Curry's ankle, and can Bogut stay on the court? So, obviously, Warriors are just going to be about health. It's all
Bogut and Curry, I think, injury prone.
Yeah, let's see. Clippers, they made a lot of moves. They solidified their strength. They kept Chris Paul. That was huge. They brought in they improved in the coach, obviously. They got Doc Rivers. They got Darren Collinson. Hopefully, can bounce back from an atrocious, a very subpar year in the Mavericks. Re-sign Matt Barnes, J.J. Redick, Jared Dudley. I'm sorry. I mean, they're all in. They're all in.
All in.
Yeah. Lakers, in order to survive. Recently, I think the latest news was Meta World Peace amnestied. So now they're basically breaking it all down. You have Gasol, Nash, and Kobe Bryant, and you add a Kaman, a Jordan Farmar, and a Yick Young. I guess I'm not really sure what they're doing, but we'll go from there. The New Orleans Pelicans, they've signed Tyreek Evans, and they still have that name.
Drew Holiday.
I fathom. What?
Drew Holiday.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they got Drew Holiday. The Spurs, they've got Thiago Splitter. They've re-signed Ginobili. They got Marco Bellinelli. So I just go on and on and on and just keep reading off the thing. But the point is, the West has exploded again. They're revamped, and just early predictions. Honestly, how do you see already the West playing out with a lot of these teams just either solidifying themselves or keeping their main pieces? What do you see early predictions happening in the West? I'll start with you, John.
I still see OKC, a battle between OKC and the Thunder. I don't think the Rockets, even though they have Dwight Howard, I don't think they're going to get propelled already to the Western Conference Finals. The Golden State, Denver is definitely not going to be in the playoffs. I don't see them recovering from losing Andre Iguodala, Corey Brewer, losing all their pieces that was very important to them.
Losing their coach.
Also George Karl, which I couldn't understand why they would let go of George Karl. He did an excellent job, coach of the year.
They didn't even have one of their key pieces in that series. Diano Gallinari,
Mm-hmm.
That's huge.
Yes.
That could have maybe been a leeway in that Warriors series.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cuban tried to save himself. Unfortunately, wasn't able to land a big free agent. Signs Calderon, Devin Harris, Ellington.
Oh yeah, that's not going to help them at all. They're still in the bottom cellar.
All right, but yeah.
And Josh Smith with the Pistons.
No, we'll talk about the East later. I'm just
okay,
focusing on the West.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see Golden State still make the playoffs. I don't really understand the Andre Iguodala signing, to be honest with you.
Really?
I like the core, their backcourt of Klay Thompson, Stephen Curry, and then having Harris and Barnes. Andre Iguodala, he's not a shooter. I guess he'll fill in that role of Jared Jack. That Iguodala will play with the ball, and then that Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson move without the ball.
Yeah.
But in terms of fitting in their style, I don't really understand it. Maybe defensively, you said help them defensively. I don't think one player is going to change the whole culture, especially if it's a perimeter player.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to help them very much. Memphis, I think they won't be as strong until they sign another perimeter player.
Yeah.
For them, but I definitely see, based on all I've seen the offseason, the Clippers definitely going up there. They needed shooters. J.J. Redick, Jared Dudley, Darren Collinson. Those guys will help them immediately. They're upgrade over Caron Butler, Chauncey Billups, and all the other.
No, Chauncey Billups went back to the Pistons.
They didn't need to get rid of him anyway. But I see. I see the Rockets moving up. Golden State, Lakers. The Clippers staying at contending for home court.
Yeah.
And and then basically Spurs and OKC fighting for the top.
It's stacked. It's gonna be crazy, and an X factor which I hate because I hate the Jazz. I'm sorry. They've set themselves up pretty well by getting rid of Paul Millsap, Al Jefferson. They have a good core of players already. They've picked up a couple of draft picks. That team, they could, they're basically setting themselves up for a big future, and I hate that.
Derek Favors is definitely he's played limited minutes, but he's justified the minutes he's gotten.
Yeah.
You look at his per minute basis. His stats are off the roof. And so is another player in the Detroit Pistons I won't mention as of right now. But, yeah, definitely the Minnesota as well. I mean, all the guards they've fitted in, chased by injured, Kevin Martin, Corey
Love wants to go to those playoffs, so.
And Kevin Love, I mean, they're primed to make the playoffs and replace the Lakers in there. So,
yeah.
As you said, the Western Conference is you could win 50 games and still miss the playoffs, honestly.
It could be like that year, remember, I think it was when Iverson and Melo were in the Nuggets. All 8 teams had 50-plus wins, and I think it was the Golden State. They only had like 48. So that's crazy. That would have made them maybe 6th seed in the East. It's crazy. The West.
Our 8th seed like the 4th seed.
Pretty
much.
It's crazy as always. Derek, how do you see the West now?
I have to agree with John. The AI to Warriors. Like, Warriors gave up a lot. Like, they're putting all their eggs in this basket, which is their backcourt: Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson.
Oh,
yeah, they lost 2 first rounders.
Yeah, 2 first rounders, 2 second rounders.
They have Jermaine O'Neal though.
Anyways, but it's just like they're putting a lot of eggs in this basket, and I hope Iguodala can step up and do what they hope to accomplish with that. Obviously, I see Rockets skyrocketing to about maybe 6, maybe 5, 5th place.
Well, they still have to build their bench.
But like
to be seen.
But like they've proven they went to the playoffs in the first year after the whole new roster. Timberwolves gonna come back for blood. Nuggets probably won't see playoffs.
Think about it. Like with the I think the Timberwolves are much better than the Nuggets.
Well, in paper, they still have to prove themselves. That's another thing. Love and Rubio have still not played a full season together. We need to see them stay on the court and then go from there. Because so far, the only thing Love has proven is that he's a statistical beast. You know, he's able to put double-doubles like it's nothing. But can he be that factor that makes the team go up that level, you know? So that's still to be seen.
And then Clippers keep to their small size. I mean, they pack their bench, but it's just going to repeat the same thing. Like,
that DeAndre Jordan is your center?
Yeah, like DeAndre Jordan is your center, and he's a liability in the fourth quarter because he can't shoot free throws. Probably worse than Dwight, but...
I think they're about the same.
It's possible someone's worse at free throws than Dwight Howard?
Shaq.
Yeah, so I think conclusion, West is going to be like always. It's going to be
fun to watch.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be crazy.
At least 10
and they're
teams.
still not done building yet. Everybody's still rebuilding. 10 teams could probably, because the Portland Trailblazers, we forget, still a very strong starter team, but obviously, like we discussed throughout this whole podcast, their bench, they need to do something about that. So far, the only move that they've made is replacing Lopez with J.J. Hickson.
Mm-hmm.
They still need to improve that bench.
Yeah, and I still don't see the Lakers completely out of the playoffs, and the same goes for Denver. I can still see them competing.
If Kobe comes back, he's gonna will them to push for the playoffs. He is that good. Okay, I'm not gonna act like he sucks, but him alone, he's gonna be enough to make them at least push for a bottom seed.
Maybe a championship.
Yeah, let's be real now.
Yeah.
Come back to American dream.
All right. So on to the East, which is usually
I
the
like
same.
how you asked me for what I thought. Yeah.
Okay, what did you think, Elliot?
No, it's fine. On to the East.
No. I want to hear you.
Well, I honestly don't think the Lakers, like, I'm doubting Kobe's ability to take him to the playoffs with the key loss in Dwight Howard, and then hopefully Pau Gasol needs to step up his game. And then Steve Nash, I think Steve Nash had a mediocre year. Like, he's not.
I mean, he was injured.
Yeah, but even when he was playing, like he wasn't the old dash. Like we didn't see the old flashes of Steve Nash we saw before. Yeah. And then the Timberwolves I think are gonna be ridiculously scary with
ridiculously scary.
Ridiculously
okay.
Scary. I mean, compared to what they were before. Like they weren't a bad team before.
I will say this: Minnesota is actually gonna have something to go to watch next year. They're definitely gonna have a fun team to finally cheer for. Yeah. Aside from the names of Johnny Flynn and I think Randy Foye.
Oh, where is he now? Oh, not in the NBA.
He's in the summer league, I think.
Summer league, where the greatest players evolve.
Hey, Jeremy Lamb is doing all right.
But anyways, and I like you guys hate the move of the AI to the Golden State. And you say one player can't make a difference in defensive. AI is a really, really good defensive player. I can see.
I never said that.
Oh no! Somebody said like one player.
That was John.
Oh, that was John. Well, I can.
The guy
I can
you agree with.
100% of the time.
I can see him making a huge difference in the defensive. Like he steals it and then like double teams. He can just improve the whole morale of the no play defense.
That's true. I mean, I don't doubt his ability to defend. I don't doubt his ability to change the culture. I doubt the Golden State Warriors roster to actually be able to shut people down. I don't think Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, I don't think they have the potential to be...
And they still have to be healthy.
Those guys are just pure offense.
Yeah, so I really don't see how Andre Dillard changing that culture. I don't know. I'm not sure we can get those guys to like step on their defense. Especially
on a final note, I'm just going to say this. I really want Curry to last a full season because he is a gift. That guy is a scoring beast.
Did he last the whole season?
He got injured.
He got injured. I don't think he's ever like lasted a whole season going to a playoffs. You know, if this dude could just stay on the court, because I really love watching this dude play. The dude is electrifying, man. It's insane. But moving on to the East, a little bit of the same old. Super stacked teams. Mid-tier, you know, what are you kind of doing teams, and then bottom of the bottom. And of course some of the major moves that happened, interestingly, Detroit signed Josh Smith, re-signed John C. Phillips, they re-signed Will Bynum. Of course you have the ginormous Nets Celtics trade. You know, you give away Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, hoping to milk whatever is left of them. You re-signed Andre Blanche, Sean Livingston. Recently, they got AK-47, Andre Karolinko. So their starters 5 years ago, their starters would have been monstrous. Godlike, you know, but now it's to see what they get left. Hawks, you know, they got Paul Millsap. That's actually a pretty good piece. Kyle Korver, and then the Bucks, they've made some interesting, they're definitely interesting. They got OJ Mayo, Zaza Pachulia. They got Jeff Teague recently re-signed, Carlos Delfino. So it looks like they're really trying to compete for that 8th seed, 7th seed, you know, making a push definitely for that. Knicks, you know, their biggest thing reacting to the Nets is getting a no defensive big man in Bargnani. They might go after Ron Artest.
J.R. Smith.
Yeah, re-signing J.R. Smith, so they might go after Artest. Pacers, they got a lot better. They got C.J. Watson. That's a pretty good piece. They got Chris Copeland from the Knicks. Oh, and then this interesting one, Charlotte Bobcats getting Al Jefferson. I guess they don't want Andrew Wiggins. So we're seeing teams making moves, but I think the bigger question is this: has anybody truly gotten better? Oh, I'm sorry. You know, Bulls are going to get back Derrick Rose, so that's going to make them a lot better. But has anybody truly made a move? Because the Heat are the standard, the Eastern Conference. Has anybody truly made a move to beat the Heat? What's your reaction with everything? How do you think the East is going to be playing out next year? I'll start with you, Elliot.
Everybody just made it so the Heat have to play maybe an extra game to defeat them. Like, let's say whoever the 8th, the Heat are going to be the first seed, and let's say the Bucks are going to become the 8th seed. Maybe it won't be a sweep. It'd be like a 4-1 this time. So I feel, and then the whole Brooklyn thing. Who's the coach? Isn't Jason Kidd?
Yeah. Which is
like he. Anyways, I'm not gonna like doubt Jason Kidd, but anyways, with you're getting the aging Kevin Garnett, and who's like what 47 years old.
He's not 47.
He's like 42, and then
Jesus, man.
And Chris Paul Pierce. They just want them to relive what they had before. It's not gonna happen. Like, just stop. Just let it die.
What do you want them to do? Just we're done.
Like, I really don't like that at all. Like,
well, the Nets. Look, what's his
is
name?
Brook Lopez still with?
Yeah, he's with them. Look, the Nets. They have a goal. When what's his name? The Russian
make the playoffs.
General manager.
I don't know.
Yeah, he had a goal. No, in a 5-year span, win an NBA championship, any means necessary. Even if that means shelling out anything, grabbing anything, milking anything. That's pretty much what he's doing. Because they can't really get better. They don't have any draft picks. I think they traded a lot of the draft picks, I think, with the Gerald Wallace trade. They don't have the money to spend. This is basically what you have to do. You have to get players, hope to milk out whatever you can. And it's not like Garnett and Pierce are going to be the face of the franchise. It's Lopez and Deron Williams with a very up and down Joe Johnson. We'll have to see how he does, you know, because he's been subpar.
He's rich, though.
Huh?
He's rich.
He's rich. So I guess he won. So I mean, that's the Brooklyn. You have to look at it. That's the Brooklyn Nets philosophy. This is how we're gonna do it. We set our 5-year plan, even if it's not the smartest plan. This is what we're gonna do. We have to live by it. But John, what do you think?
I mean, honestly, I don't see how any of the teams improved. I don't know what the Knicks were doing trading for Andre Bargnani. His bloated contract's terrible. He doesn't play any defense. He can't even shoot well. I'm really not sure what they were trying to do. I mean, they had a good center in Tyson Chandler, even though he's declined. The Hawks, like you said, they're just basically trading pieces of the Milwaukee. I'm not sure what they're doing there. I don't like the acquisition of Josh Smith for Detroit. I don't see him. He's not a good shooter. He's not a good three-point shooter at all. He's probably the worst spot-up shooters statistically that I've seen.
Actually, that might be Monte Ellis.
Oh,
I was actually reading this fun fact where he gets his points, but I think he's like the sixth worst inefficient shooter. He needs to like take a lot of shots to get his points.
But he just looks good shooting them, huh? But Detroit. I thought they had a good base with Greg Monroe and Andre Drummond. I mean, I think Drummond's going to be a all-star very soon. I think he's going to follow the path.
Kid's only 19. He's going to be, once he grows into his body, that's going to be something else.
Guy's a freak of an athlete. I mean, you see him if the Detroit decides to do put pressure on the ball. Yeah. He's in the middle of it getting steals.
And I'll go as far as say I think he will be the first to bring back if foot movement. He's good with his feet. Yes. He knows how to move with his feet. He could bring back quality center moves where he actually has a multiple range. I have high hopes for Drummond, and I think you were very sad when I still remember that day with the draft.
Yeah, when we missed when Toronto screwed us over and didn't trade us for the 8th pick to get Drummond. Yeah. I think Drummond's, he's a diamond in the rough. He's gonna step up. The Hawks, I think it was a very good sign for him to get Paul Millsap. He's a solid veteran. I think he fits in very well with Al Horford. I'm not sure if the Atlanta Hawks are gonna get Jason Jennings. To me, Jason Jennings is like Monte Ellis, as you said. Brandon Jennings. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
They're similar as where they score points, but they're such volume shooters. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to actually help the offense produce more points. But other than the East, a lot of the moves are questionable. Washington Wizards, they gave a big contract to Martell Webster, like $8 million a year, which I don't see.
$22 million. 4-year, $22 million.
So that's what
It's almost $8 million a year.
$8 million a year. I mean, I think that's too much for a role player, especially for one as unproven Monte Webster. I don't understand Charlotte signing Al Jefferson. He's what you're gonna get. He only scores points. He doesn't really care. He plays to get paid, basically. And I don't think that's going to be healthy for Bismack Biyombo and Kemba Walker, emphasizing that in that culture. Other than that, the East, I don't think they have any of.
An interesting move, I forgot to mention, Cavaliers got Andrew Bynum. I'm sorry, I'm drawing blanks. Jared Jack. They got Earl Clark.
Yeah, I think Cleveland probably had the best offseason.
In the East.
Got the first round pick.
Yeah, the first round pick. I think that was a smart move of them to gain that first round pick and taking a chance on them. Andrew Bynum, if he does produce, will help them a lot. I think looking into it, Detroit, Cleveland goes into the playoffs. I think Boston are going to be out, especially since they traded KG and Paul Pierce, and I don't know what they're going to do with Rajon Rondo. Yeah. And Milwaukee, I'm not sure what they're doing. They sacrificed a lot of their assets for a 1-year rental for JJ Redick. So I think Milwaukee is going to get out of there. But to me, the East is just, they know the teams got stronger. It's just different teams will get into the playoffs.
Okay. So it's just a shuffle. Derek?
Mm-hmm. 2 teams got stronger. Bulls automatically because they're getting Rose back.
Yep.
And I feel like Pacers just solidified their team a little better. They
got the bench, and Danny Granger will be back.
So it's just, I feel like those 2 teams honestly had a positive value. Well, including Cavaliers, depending on how Andrew Bynum plays out. But those 3 teams are the only ones that had a positive value. Nets is like a gamble. It's like a crapshoot. You don't know what you're gonna get. I hope it works. I hope everything meshes well.
It would be fun to see. I mean, because, again, the lineup, you look at that lineup card, you're like, damn, but it's like...
It's 5 years younger.
Yeah,
5 years younger, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Heat are the same. Milwaukee, Atlanta will be fighting for 7th or 8th place. Or 8th place, excuse me.
Battle of the ages.
I don't know why Bobcats didn't tank again to get Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure Boston's going to get Andrew Wiggins.
Well, actually, see, that's another thing with the Celtics, though, and the Andrew Wiggins thing. You still have Rajon Rondo. I don't think Rondo doesn't make you. He's good.
He's a garbage
He doesn't
player.
make you bad enough to be the last team. He's gonna make
But
you.
he has nothing to work with. He
But-
can't. I don't think
He
can.
can't create his own shot.
He
he's
can
working
create
on it.
his own drive. He can like take it in. He can.
Well, he has
score.
pieces. He has. Let's see. He got Wallace, Humphreys, Brooks,
Chris
Keith
Humphreys.
Bogans.
He's garbage.
I know, but like those people won't give you a positive regular season.
I think they'll give him an okay season.
That's
But what
not
I'm
like
saying
a
is, I'm talking
positive
about
value,
but I'm
like-
talking about like we're talking about the fact that Celtics get Wiggins. I highly doubt it. With this team, they're not terrible.
I don't think they're. I don't think they're Charlotte. Terrible.
They're just good.
As
They're
long as they
okay.
have Rondo, I think they would not be bottom seller team.
Yeah,
It's
Rondo.
okay. It's a conspiracy. They'll get Wiggins.
No, if it's a conspiracy, then the Lakers are gonna get him.
No, because Kobe's ego is too big and his contract is too
No.
fat.
Okay, so I think we can agree that in the East it's pretty much a shuffle for the mid tier spots, and basically it's again a three man race of the super giants, which would be, I guess in this case, the Heat, the Bulls, and the Pacers. And I guess you could say
Don't put the Nets in there.
no. I'm saying Knicks and Nets are kind of
No.
like teetering
Yeah,
based
they're
on what they do. Performance is obviously going to be a factor, on how they do throughout the year, because they'll get to the playoffs. But then it's just going to be the new questions again. Can Carmelo push them with these old pieces? It's one of those things.
I can't ever see Carmelo winning a championship.
Well, they said that about Kevin Garnett, and look, he got one. So
Well, because he had to change venues.
well, I'm just saying it's not over till it's over, so we'll have to see about that.
It's
So
over.
we got a huge season to look forward to next year. I don't know if we're gonna be doing this podcast, but it's definitely gonna be
Hopefully
fun.
y'all like it enough and want us back.
If anybody
Mostly
has
me,
ever
man.
listened to
Please.
this,
Mostly me.
hopefully you hate Elliot. Hopefully you enjoy the rest of us, quality people right here. And
We'll bash Elliot more next season.
I think just one last thing I want to say is the
How
tank
great
party. Who do you honestly do you think the Kings? Do you think they're gonna get Wiggins? Who do you think is gonna get Wiggins? Who do you think is gonna suck enough to get Wiggins?
Well, the Charlotte Bobcats always suck, but they just can't get the first pick. I don't know why. Maybe it's just Charlotte.
Well, maybe that's why they pick up Al Jefferson, so they can't be the last pick. They can be the third worst or the second worst.
Oh, good. Oh, very good
strategy.
thinking.
Yeah. Al Jefferson added, hey, why don't you give us 2 more wins? That's going to elevate us from the last spot.
How many times have the Charlotte Bobcats sucked so much they just can't get the first round pick?
Why?
I'll just go with Charlotte Bobcats because they're just terrible every year.
I think they got a couple more years until they become the Charlotte Hornets, and then we're gonna see them escalate, and they're gonna
They're
start
gonna
being
break
good again.
500. I'm pretty sure
When
gonna
they get the
break-
Hornets?
Yeah, when they get the somehow things will get 500. That season's gonna be perfect for them.
I already call it 2022 Pelicans versus Hornets in the NBA Finals.
Oh,
Much
God,
exciting
that's
email.
so boring.
We don't know 2022.
Pelicans.
Oh, 2022.
Yeah,
Oh.
2022. So what are we? 2030? 9 years. In 9 years, we're gonna see an intense battle between the Hornets and the Pelicans in the finals.
God, we probably won't even know anybody on the roster.
We're gonna be older than everybody on the rosters.
No.
That's true. That's probably very
If Davis is.
My life. What have I done with it?
Oh, God,
true.
90 is going to be 30.
I doubt he'll stay there. If he develops as a player, as they say he would, he's not
There's
gonna
this
stay.
5-year-old kid that's prospected to elevate in the next 5 years. So maybe at the age of I don't even know where I'm going with this.
Maybe 14.
I know that's why I stopped.
Oh.
I forgot math.
I say the Wizards somehow get it because they didn't really do much this offseason. They signed a bloated contract to Martell Webster.
I still got John Wall, so I don't think they'll be terrible.
Dude, John.
Oh, no, but like they were so close to winning the lotto, and then
The West will be interesting, and the East will be subpar. So, with that, we close this final podcast of Unlimited Pancakes. If we ever had any viewers, I hope that you guys enjoyed. We had fun doing this, regardless of whether or not we got watched or not. I know Elliot hated it every moment.
you mean listen to.
yeah,
this is a
listen to.
podcast.
Yeah, we had to listen to him.
No,
But-
listen to. This is a podcast.
said watched.
They don't watch the video.
You can watch audio. You can just
Really?
stare at it.
Really?
This is true. I think you can watch audio. Let's not start this debate, though.
Watch audio.
You can watch audio.
What is audio?
Audio is a noun.
What organ do you usually use it with?
It's like the Windows Media Player where they have like those sounds. Like
It's
yeah,
just
sound waves. There you go.
visualizers.
See.
It's a picture of a basketball and a plate of pancakes. That's it.
And you can watch that.
Yeah, you
for,
can watch it still though.
Speaking of pancakes, I'm like,
Oh, that's true. We finished the podcast,
We
and
did, no, we
Elliot
explained.
never got unlimited pancakes. Wait, did you get to?
I didn't.
Oh no, I thought we explained the story.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying you never got your pancakes.
I have to bring him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they bring it back every year.
It hasn't been a year.
It was actually.
No, it was January when we started this.
Yeah, it
maybe.
hasn't come back yet.
No, it
Has
came
it
back
been
2 weeks
January?
ago. I'm not kidding.
This is
Yeah.
life. Stay facing you.
Oh, the calories, though. Oh, the calories.
Delicious
So,
calories.
Any last words before we leave forever and die,
Well,
become phoenixes and float into the
everybody's
ashes?
gonna die eventually.
That's your last words?
Some earlier than others. So.
Okay, ultimate question. Who do you pick, Superman or Kobe Bryant?
That depends. What are they doing? Are they saving the world or are they playing basketball?
They're playing basketball.
They're playing basketball, Kobe. Are they saving the world, Kobe?
John, any last words?
2016, Daryl Morey for President of the United States.
And 2022 Hornets Pelicans. Derek?
Prove me wrong, Dwight Howard. Prove me wrong.
I think he will.
Go Rockets.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong. I want to be proven wrong. I want to admit I'm wrong.
Yeah, no,
Hey,
this
we
is
need
one
to
of
get
those
some
things.
cable too. I want to watch some actual games. God damn.
Our friend Elliot here lives in a hut downtown, and unfortunately can't get
Ah.
just be outside
Fuck
Toyota
Elliot.
Center, look through the window like Dwight. Press your hand slowly. Do the dunk. All right. And with that, we close our podcast. Thanks for listening, anybody that listened.
God, this was like an hour and 13 minutes.
It's hot in
last
this
episode.
room.
Feels like an hour and 13 minutes.
It's hot. It's hot in
It's the
this
season
room.
finale,
Oh my-
man. You know how season finales
So
are
how are
dragged
you
out.
still wearing this jacket?
I don't know.
Please stop it.
I just stopped.
No, I'm just letting it go now. We're done.
God, it's so hot.
The show hot.
It's hot.